Hello everyone, welcome to LearnZilla and welcome to our journey to learn web development. We're going to start with HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS is the basic thing a web developer learns. So let's dive into it. When you open a website on a browser, the browser receives the HTML and CSS from the server where the website is hosted. And then it transforms the HTML and CSS to the web page that we see. Some website have extra content such as images, videos, and audio animation, and we'll be learning about that in the coming videos. The larger and more complex website might use database to store data and programming languages such as PHP, ASP.NET, Java, or Ruby on server. We can learn about those technologies once we mastered HTML and CSS. A web page is basically an electronic version of many of the documents we see every day, such as newspaper, forms, catalogs, etc. In all these documents, structure is very important because it helps the readers to understand the message that is being conveyed, and also structure of these documents help us navigate around the document. In this video, we'll see how structure of a web page is described, how tags or elements are added to your document, and we'll be writing our first web page. Here's a very basic code for an HTML page, and if you open this page in a browser, you can tell it's very basic, but I can promise you in the future we'll learn how to make these pages more attractive and beautiful. So let's go back to the code and talk about the structure. HTML uses elements to describe the structure of a page, and each element has an opening and a closing tags. The tags act like containers that tell us about the content between their opening and closing. For example, this HTML tag here is telling us that everything between these two tags is an HTML code. Let's look into the tag. Every element starts with the opening tag and a closing tag. So the opening tag has a left angle bracket and a character in between and a right angle bracket. The character pretty much tells us what this tag is about. For example, this P stands for paragraph, and it tells us this is a paragraph element and this is a paragraph tag. The closing tag is pretty much the same as an opening tag, but it has a forward slash in it, and that pretty much tells us that this is where this tag is ending. Now let's look at some of the other elements that we have in our code here. After HTML, we see an element head. This is an opening tag and a closing tag. Anything between these two tags is the information about the web page. For example, this tile, basically this is just the tile for this web page. This won't be shown in the main page, but it'll be actually, if you look at the browser here, anything that is written between the title tags will appear on the title bar on our browser, and you can see it right here. There are other elements that go in the head element, and we'll be going into that in the future. After the head element, we have another element called body. Basically, anything that will be between these two tags, it will be shown on the main web page. So everything you see on your web page is actually between these tags. Now let's look at some of the other elements that we have inside body element. We have a H1 element. H stands for heading. So H1 means that this is heading level 1. So that's the largest heading in HTML, as we can see here. It's a heading. Then we have another element, a paragraph element, and then now here is something interesting. This element has something with it in its opening tag. So this is called attribute. Let's look into attribute. Attributes tell us more about the elements. They give us additional information about the content of the element. Attributes are shown on the opening tag of the element, and they're made of two parts, as you can see here. One is the name and other is the value. Attribute name indicates what kind of extra information is supplied about the content within the element. For example, for this element paragraph, we have this attribute named lang. So basically it's telling about the language of this paragraph. And the value, ENUS, tells us that this is a English paragraph. Similarly, for the next paragraph, we see the lang has a value FR, which stands for French. Basically, it tells us that this paragraph is in French. Most attributes can only be used on certain elements, but there are few, such as lang here, that can be implemented on any element. There are a lot of other attributes that we have in HTML, and we'll be learning about that in the future. So guys, this concludes the basic introduction of HTML structure. In the coming videos, we'll be learning more exciting stuff. So see you in the next video.